Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2025 Nissan Z NISMO. Up front is a 3.0 liter twin turbo V6, and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. I am super excited to be making this video here today because the Nissan Z is one of my favorite vehicles. It really truly is, and I think it's a lot better than a lot of its competition. But the second reason is that I'm here in South Florida getting to soak up the sun. The last Nissan Z NISMO that we reviewed was actually during the wintertime in November, and I couldn't drive that car all that much because it was on slick tires. But now we get to really enjoy all that the Nissan Z NISMO has to offer. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 3-liter twin turbo V6 under the hood. Well, that is the crown jewel. Although it doesn't get any horsepower or performance upgrades for the Nissan Z NISMO, it still makes 420 horsepower, which I have felt is way more than adequate for a vehicle like this. It is fun, it sounds great, and it offers a really exhilarating experience. You don't really get much turbo lag. That's the beauty of turbocharged V6s. You kind of have that low-end torque around town that 4 cylinders can't replicate, but you also have that high end with the turbo. So I have always loved this setup, and it debuted in the Infiniti Q50 many moons ago. Like I said, paired to it is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now, rightfully so, that is one of the downsides of the NISMO. Although the NISMO is the hopped up higher end performance version, it actually only gets an automatic transmission, where the traditional performance Nissan Z, the Nissan Z Performance, I drove a blue one last year, that you can actually get with a 6-speed manual transmission, and that would be my pick. You'll save some money, you'll still have a fantastic car, and you get that 6-speed where this is only the automatic. Last but not least about the drivetrain, of course, it is rear-wheel drive, as God intended. So how does it feel to drive the Nissan Z? Specifically the NISMO. Well, you are going to notice that ride is a little bit stiffer than maybe other vehicles. It's a performance car, and you're going to feel that in your spine and butt, but I like that. It feels very planted, and it feels very confident as you drive it down the road. It does feel a little bit bigger than the Supra. I don't have dimensions in front of me, and that's just my go-to comparison vehicle, but I've always liked the interior space of the Z better. That's a big drawing point for me as well, but the overall driving feels just a little bit bigger, but not overly big. It's not too big. It doesn't need a seatbelt extender, and that's nice to see. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have the Nissan Z NISMO digital gauges. So this does get reskinned for the NISMO. It has the special red gauges, and it gives you a bunch of information that you can also swipe through. I've always liked this. It's clean, it's clear, it's simple, and I like it. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our volume, skip track, and selectors, as well as off to the right, we have our cruise control options. We also get paddle shifters around the back and this red stripe down the center of the steering wheel that we will talk about later on. Off to the left, we do have our traction control button, and on the door, we have our climate vents, handle to get in and out, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get 3 gauges for our boost pressure, turbo speed, and battery voltage. Now, I've said this before, I think the turbo speed is a little dumb. No one actually talks in that way or says, hey, what's the speed of your turbo? It's kind of mishmash jargon, but the Nissan Z has always had 3 gauges in the center, so I love that they are honoring their heritage and keeping that tradition alive. Down below, we have 2 climate control vents with the hazard switch, our touchscreen navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. Backup camera, of course. It's fine, it does the job. I would have liked to have seen a little bit nicer of a backup camera on this price point of vehicle, but that's okay. Then we have physical buttons down below, volume, tune knob, physical climate controls, where to send it. No dual zone or anything like that, but it's a small car. You don't really need it. USB-A as well as USB-C. Love to see that out of the Z NISMO. Red start button off to the left. Drive modes off to the right for Sport, Sport Plus, and Standard. Shifter in the center. It's kind of a funky style shifter. However, since it is automatic, you're going to touch it once and then never touch it again. So it can be as funky as you want because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Then we get a trunk release with 2 dead switches, a cup holder that we know fails the big friggin' bottle test. Another cup holder, or you can actually use it to slide out an extra armrest for the center console, but that's it. The seats are comfortable, however, they are a lot more aggressive than the standard Nissan Z. These are the NISMO Recaros. That's a big draw for the NISMO as well. You do get these Recaros, which are very nice, but for a bigger guy like me, I'm a little squished into it. There's not much adjustment available, but again, I'm an outlier, so if you're my size, beware. If you're not my size, which odds are you aren't, you'll be fine. Now, we don't have any back seats, but we do have a trunk, so we'll hop around there and do a trunk review. All right, around the back of the Nissan Z NISMO, little button in here pops it up like that, and you have your rear trunk space. Not anything too crazy, but this is, again, I would say a lot more space than the Supra, or at least the opening of the Z NISMO is a lot more friendly than the Supra ever has been. So very, very nice to see that. Not super deep, but nice to see nevertheless. There it is. That's the rear hatch of the Nissan Z NISMO, in case you were ever curious about it. Now we gotta talk about the looks. And first of all, I love this color. I was originally going to be given a gray one, but that's what I reviewed last year, and I said, no, I need to drive that red one. And they said, yeah, okay, that's fine, sure. It wasn't a big deal. I think they just wanted the sweaty man to stop yelling. But I love this color. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I love the lines, I love the design, and I love the look of the modern Nissan Z. I think it looks good. I think it looks very much a Nissan Z, but in the modern way. It's not a carbon copy of the 370Z that they made forever. It feels fresh and new, at least in the exterior look. Some of the interior stuff, you could totally tell, oh yeah, that was pulled from the Nissan 370. But exterior-wise, I do think that it's fresh, and I think it honors their heritage very, very well. Speaking of heritage, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving yet another Nissan Z NISMO? Well, I love this car. I really, really do. Comparing it to the Toyota Supra, I was telling someone this recently. I prefer this Nissan Z over the Supra. I like the interior space better. I do love the sound of that V6, although the inline 6 in the Supra is fantastic as well. It's really a no-lose battle. If you pick either one of them, you're gonna go home with an amazing car. But to me, the Nissan Z has always been something special, or just more special. You don't see them all the time. They're not on every street corner, although they did outsell the Supra last year. Maybe it is because my name starts with a Z, and it was always terrible in elementary school whenever we had to do an icebreaker at the beginning of the school year. Oh, pick a vegetable that starts with the same letter as your name. Pick an animal that starts with the same letter as your name. I was screwed all the time. I had to pick zebra, I had to pick zucchini, and to describe myself, I had to say zesty. Those were my only options. And so whenever I saw something with a Z, this and also the BMW Z3 was a favorite of mine growing up because of that Z name. I can associate with it. It's at the very end of the alphabet. I am at the very end of everyone's contact list. But I think when you're put in that position, myself and the car, it breeds something interesting and special. My name isn't Michael or John or Tim. You know, I only knew a handful of people with the same name as me growing up, and almost none of them spelled it with a CK like I do. And so this car has always had that edge in terms of its specialness, how special it feels. And so to commemorate that, Nissan has done something really, really special. they have designed a sushi knife that not only pays tribute to the Nissan Z. When you flip it upside down, it mimics the same curve as the window. These were hand cut. It has the Z logo on it, and of course, like I said, it has that red band mimicking the red NISMO accents and the red steering wheel collar. But it also encompasses the Japanese culture. The knife was designed to honor that culture. And honestly, every time I'm around a Z, good things happen. One of my closest friends, Garrett, built his Z31 for drifting, and we built incredible memories that way. One of my friends growing up, Kyle, had a 370Z, and one time when my car was broken, he let me take that to the car show, and it was wonderful. I fell in love. The 350Z on the cover of Forza Motorsport 2, the first Forza game I ever played, and where I learned a lot about customization and upgrades. And don't forget, Need for Speed Underground 2, that 350Z. The Nissan Z to me has always been surrounded by good times and good people. And that is why this car is so special to me. You don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. You don't even have to think it's okay. But I do. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful, and it is becoming one of my favorite vehicles. It's simply lovely in the most Max Verstappen way I can think of. Thank you to Nissan for flying me down here to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to do some deep sea fishing and make incredible memories that way. Something I was so out of my comfort zone to do. To teach us about sushi making and the process. And of course, showcasing their beautiful vehicle. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.